Hey, everybody. So I just wanted to talk today about the big shift occurring in the world and what to do about it, how you can manage it. We are absolutely going through a huge transformation. This is a once in a lifetime thing. Nobody's ever seen what we're about to experience on many, many levels. And so, on an energetic level, spiritual level, on a technical level, everything is changing. We're just entering the vortex of change, and things are about to get really fun. Big wave is coming, and you need to learn how to surf it. And so, for you guys out there who might be working on your career or looking for a purpose in life, trying to understand your passion, I want to give you three ways to deal with this transformation that's happening. I mean, just AI alone is going to have a huge impact, and it's going to happen very fast. It's already rapidly happening, right? But for most of the people that I talk to, this change is going to occur within 2 to 4 years, and it's going to be massive. How we're employed, whether we're employed, how things work. Um, I don't want to get into the dark side of things. I think it's risky what's happening. Um, with AI, just my sense of it. However, because you are the master of your world, you are the master of your world, and the thoughts that you hold in your mind are what generate the world you experience. Spiritual principle number one, right? Straight out of the Course of Miracles and other teachings. Ultimately, we are a mind. We are not bodies. A body is an experience you're having, right? And so, if it's true that we are mind or non-physical um, thought substance, and that substance is all creative, we come from a creative force, call it whatever you like, that created us by extending itself, by thinking of us and extending itself to become us, and then having full attention on us, loving what it created. Um, we create in a very similar fashion. And so this experience we're having in a body, this bag of bones and water, right, is not the ultimate truth. It's an experience, it's an expression of our thoughts, our mind, it's an expression of our um, group intention, right? We won't get into all the details of that. I will eventually talk more about that, not today. But you could say the world is the result of our collaborative idea, wanting to have an experience of limitation. And so your body is really a limitation device. So the body can create things, you can hammer some nails, make a house, build things. Your brain can invent things and make some things happen. But there's nothing more powerful than your mind. Your mind is all powerful and all creative. There are things that are made, they're made in space and time. They are in the temporal realm, they're temporary. Everything made here is temporary. The real power is in your mind, the power to create, and anything created is eternal, is in your mind. But your mind can affect the temporal realm intentionally and consciously if you choose so. So I want to break that down just a little bit. So whatever seems to be coming from the outside in that you don't seem to have any control over, in the movie of the world, that's sort of true. You can't decide what Elon Musk does or what they're going to do with AI and whether they put safety precautions and build them in, or whether they just focus on making lots of money and just let it run rampant, right? You have no real control over that, so it seems. But what you do have control over is the world you experience. Your mind and your thoughts, your intentions, and the emotional state you create out of that absolutely generates the life that you experience. It generates who shows up in your world. It generates what your bank account looks like. It generates what your relationships look like, what your health looks like. You could be 90 years old like me and still look like you're 40. Just kidding. Anyway, you are all creative, just like your creator. The truth about you is you are cause, not effect. You are cause, not effect. And so the three things that will be sort of your cocoon or your force field of protection to help you generate a world within the world that seems to be happening to you that is more safe and comfortable and pleasant and joyful and abundant happens in these three different ways, these three different spiritual mechanisms. And so one is community. Number one is community. All things that show up in the world or in your life that seem negative or less than what you want, that bring you anything other than joy or peace, are the result of some form of separation or the belief in separation or isolation. I know that's hard to fully get right now, but over time you'll get what I'm talking about. I'm not expecting you to believe any of this. Just practice what I'm giving you to practice and you'll see the truth of it. So if all the problems that are showing up are actually the result of the one problem of separation or belief in separation, then the solution to all the problems is some form of connection or communion or finding union with one or more. And so community, building community, do not isolate, do not withdraw, do not ghost. If you feel hurt or sad or angry or whatever at somebody, anytime you want to pull back, just this one thing will transform your life. Anytime you feel like pulling back, push in instead. Anytime you feel like cutting off and breaking off communication, remembering communication is how we to communicate is to find union. Anytime you want to, withdraw from that, ghost, pull back, push in instead. Push in instead. So through communication or connection, right? Through forgiveness. Number two is forgiveness. And I want to give you a definition of forgiveness that comes out of this book right here, A Course in Miracles. I'm a teacher and a student of A Course in Miracles for many years now. And I have a Friday morning Course in Miracles group. And we're going to talk a bit about the Course in Miracles here as well. Sometimes I'll refer to the book, but I will talk about more than the Course in Miracles here. I'm going to help you integrate these principles into your life. So in the Course in Miracles, you could say that if you wanted to boil this whole book, and it's a large book, it's got like 3 books built into one word, that word would be forgiveness. This is a Course in Miracles. A miracle, according to the Course in Miracles, is really a shift in perception, because what your mind sees or perceives affects what shows up in your world. But a true miracle is when something that shouldn't be happening or shouldn't be able to happen, or some transformation is occurring that you would normally believe is impossible, right? We are miracle makers because our minds are all creative. We just don't know it. So through our ability to forgive, forgiveness is the conduit to miracles. And this is the reason why. If you understand what forgiveness is, okay? So forgiveness, in my definition, based on my understanding and study of the Course, forgiveness is the willingness to see the truth beyond the illusory world of physicality, bodies, and things, right? There is what's happening here in the physical world. You could say this is sort of like a movie we've invented so we can have this experience of being something less than what we actually are. You are not this bag of bones and water. This thing can pop if you fall off the seat the wrong way. And so that gives us a sense of vulnerability, a sense of lack, a sense of needing to get. The problem with needing to get when you try to go out there and get is you're proving you don't have. You can indeed gather a lot upon yourself. This little brain and this body can do a lot of things in the world to gather a lot upon yourself, but you'll never feel fulfilled or safe that way. In fact, the more you do that, the more you're proving you don't have enough, And that's what greed really is. You just keep needing to get more. Forgiveness is the willingness to see the truth beyond this whole movie, and the truth, not just in you, but in all of those around you who are really part of you. Each and every one who shows up in your life is actually a reflection of an aspect of you. They're aspects of you, and you're an aspect of them. And so if that is true, and you're aware of that to some degree, you're in the higher mind. You have more power to move the things in the world in the way you would like. And so forgiveness is the willingness to see the truth. If something is happening that you don't like and you want to blame somebody or attack somebody, make them, judge them, right? Well, judgment is binary, right or wrong, good or bad, more or less. I recommend that you don't do that. It's hard, but we don't really, from this perspective of a tiny little, speck of dust in space and time in one tiny little place, you can't really gather enough information to judge accurately. So you want to leave judgment alone, step aside for it, ask whatever you would like to call it, the divine mind, the universe, God, source, any other name you want to give it, Holy Spirit, anything you like to call it. What you call it doesn't matter. It knows when you're seeking it. It's part of you. It is part of your mind. Your mind is an extension of the grand mind, the great creator. Ask that to show you the truth in this one before you, in this person, in this situation, in this experience. And through that form of forgiveness, the willingness to see the truth, knowing that if I'm upset, I'm seeing something that's ultimately not true. I'm believing a misperception or a misunderstanding, misjudging something before me. That's what causes your pain and suffering. Through community, through forgiveness, you start to shield yourself from any negative effects of the world and this big, huge shift that we're going through, which is going to be tumultuous, right? It's going to be big. So it is big. It's happening already. It's going to speed up. A lot is going to change. So through this forgiveness, this willingness to see the truth beyond all of that, because all of that is just a vibrational reflection of this inner shift we're all going through. We are leveling up, right? On a genetic level, on a mental level. Up until now, we've been operating in a very, very, very tiny percentage of who and what we really are. And that's about to expand. But like any other transformation, if you think about the butterfly and the caterpillar and the cocoon, lots of things are going to have to break down in order for us to break through to the next level. And in that breakdown experience, you can feel and experience a lot of fear, which will then cause a lot of pain and suffering. You don't have to feel and experience that. Not if you're building community or finding connection with people and forgiving. Now, the thing about forgiveness, the willingness to see the truth, that actually fortifies and helps us to build those connections, because it's judgment that severs the connection, because most of our judgments are inaccurate. And we're going to come up with things that make us want to pull back, right? And a perspective or perception of things that make us to want to pull back, right? Because we're not fully aware. And so there's a lot of fear in that. So those two things work together. So I hope that makes sense. Just checking out the chat here. And so the third component of these three prongs, right, that will sort of create this energetic force field around you where things outside might seem to be disruptive or disruptive to others, that's not going to be disruptive to you, right, is knowing or finding, knowing, and being about your purpose. Especially for you men out there, especially for you young guys, trust me on this. If you're meandering around, just trying to make whatever money to keep you safe and build a life, You can do that, but it's not going to give you a sense of safety, nor will it give you a sense of abundance, or a sense of okayness within yourself. I would recommend rather that you seek your purpose in the same way forgiveness is the willingness to see the truth, and it's actually the act of asking for the truth. Purpose is an asking as well. To know your purpose, you have to ask. It's not something you invent or come up with. Certainly your passions are definitely a guide. They will lead you into the realm of your purpose, not accident, the passions you have. Also your talents, gifts, and strengths. Those are not accidents either. They're all meant to be in service to your purpose. It's not an accident what you're good at, right? Or what you love to do. And so those are clues, right? And you want to move into those. You want to move towards that, not away from it. And don't allow the need to chase success or money or all those things you think are going to make you okay in the world, which will not. I'm not saying you don't need money. We do at this level. All that takes care of itself when you're being in service to your purpose, because your purpose is God-given, or if you don't like the word God, it's given by the universe or the grand creator that caused you. The creator has a plan, has a vision, has its own purpose with a capital P, something it's trying to manifest, and we are part of it. And in fact, we each have our own very special function or purpose in the plan. That is part of how we help bring heaven to earth. And right now, most of us would say earth is not a heavenly place. Whatever you think heaven should be, right, would feel to you. You know, to me, heaven is just a place where you feel peace and joy and safety and absolute abundance and connection and, you know, all of that. You could call all of that love. I don't really like to use the word love too much because I think it's misconstrued and misunderstood. I'm not talking about romance or anything like that. Love is something much bigger and much more powerful. So all of that is available to us, and we're here to help it unfold. It's an unfolding. And so if you don't get clear about your purpose, again, especially you guys out there, if you don't get clear about your purpose, then and bring your gift forward through your purpose, right? We don't get to have it. It's like each of us is a piece in the divine puzzle of God's creation. Each one of us brings a special component that without us saying yes and agreeing to be about it and bringing it forward, the rest of us don't get to have it. So we're that one puzzle piece away from experiencing what God intends, which is heaven on earth. And so those three things, and if you seek them out, not in any special order, you want to be practicing them consistently. Whenever you feel fear, whenever there's a tumultuous situation around you, you know, something you see on YouTube or in the news or in your life or in your bank account or something that happens at work or with your job, or, you know, whenever fear, you know, comes up, you want to seek connection, and you find connection through communication. You commune through communication. So you want to communicate, find somebody to communicate with. You want to forgive, which means look for the truth in that situation that seems to be, you know, a problem or shifting or changing around you that's scaring you. Ask to see the truth in it. Ask to see the truth in yourself and in all those who are involved. And in that process of seeking that truth, you will start to find peace. And so collaboration, connection, seeking forgiveness, and then, you know, be about your purpose. And so I would say, don't wait for an upset to occur, for the fear to show up to try to approach those three things. You want to be about your purpose right now. If I could give you one thing to focus right on right now, it would be purpose. Purpose. Like, what is my purpose? I could tell you this, we all share a purpose with a capital P, and that's what I mentioned earlier. That is our purpose, our function in the world. all of us, we're here to make heaven on earth. That's our purpose with capital P. But your special function or your special purpose that is yours and yours alone, it may look similar to mine. Now, your purpose may be to, I don't know, have a horse ranch and bring people to God or to heaven, by letting them ride horses. I don't know. I'm making it up. And that may be mine too, but the way I do it and the way you do it are going to be very different. And so seek your purpose. You want to start by looking at what your passions are, looking at what your gifts, talents, and strengths are, and then start asking. Go on a pilgrimage. Go into the woods, go on a trip for a few days out in the desert in Santa Fe or New Mexico or, the Pine Barrens of New Jersey or your backyard and just reserve a period of time to meditate and ask, please show me a vision for my life. What is my purpose? What is the grand vision that you have for me? Right? Your God-given grand vision will be shown to you if you ask for it. Now, you may not see it right away because there's a readiness quotient, and that's an inside job. And so you're more ready, the more willing you are to relinquish everything in service of your purpose. And that's scary for people. This is the thing, though, when you're on purpose and you're being about your purpose because you're in service to, the Creator's purpose for you, all manner of miracles will happen for you. Everything you need on your path will be provided. I hope you can get that. And I can only tell you by my own experience, and I've oscillated in my life like all of us. I've been on purpose, and then it's very easy for your ego, your fear, to rob your purpose or repurpose your purpose for its reasons, for its own purposes. And once that happens, you'll go off the mark. You're off purpose. You won't realize it till it starts to feel like you're pushing a muddy boulder up a muddy hill. But there was a time when I owned climbing walls, and that was very much on my path. It was my purpose, right? Part of my purpose. I like to tell people, I'm here to teach, love, and liberate the soul. That's my sentence that I've created to express my purpose. Now that's morphed over time and might change again. Your purpose always stays the same, but how you describe it may change, right? And also there's your vehicle for delivery. That can change. So my purpose is to teach, love, and liberate the soul. You may say, well, what's that got to do with climbing and climbing walls? I operated pay per climb climbing walls in amusement parks on the East Coast. I had 13 locations ultimately. Most of them started in Wildwood, New Jersey, and Seaside, and Atlantic City, Ocean City. But then we spread out to Florida, to Maine. And so the way I was teaching love and the type of love I'm talking about is teaching the power within you, the light and the creative force within you, and liberating the soul, liberating people from their limiting beliefs was in the climbing walls. With the climbing walls, we did our climbing walls all manual, right? It was manual. There were no automatic belaying rope devices. I would not do that because I wanted my people working directly with the people climbing. And so people would come up and say, I can't do it. I can't do it. Little kids, right? I can't do it. I can't do it. And we loved helping people get up the wall, and especially the highest climb, and hitting the buzzer, and the smoke would pour out and the bell would go off. But, here's somebody saying, I can't do it. And I used to teach people what you say is really powerful, and it is. So what you say, you create. If you say, I can't, you probably can't, and you won't, right? But then these people were saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, and then making it to the top. So I had to reevaluate. I had to think about what is it that's allowing them to get to the top when they're saying out loud, I can't. And of course, as you've probably figured out already, what was allowing them to get to the top was that we believed them up. Even when they couldn't believe it or weren't believing, we believed it for them. And our connection to them, our united belief that they could do it, was powerful enough to break through their limitation. They're mental limitation. All limitations are mental. There are no worldly limitations, no matter what it looks like. It's not the money in your bank account. It's not your boss. It's not your wife or husband that's limiting you. Not your situation, not your skin color, not your background, not your sexuality. I mean, are weird things happening in the world around all this stuff? Of course, right? But you, the truth of you, the part of you that's not the bag of bones and water, is way more powerful than any of that. And so all of this transformation occurs in the mind, right? It occurs in the mind. So what protects us through this tumultuous time that we are entering, and stuff is going to happen, right? Politics, countries, borders, lots of things are changing. You know, AI, jobs, all kinds of things are going to be happening. Robots, right? Weather, we are going to go through some major tumultuous stuff, but you can surf through that like riding a nice big wave and having a blast. And you can bring others with you, your loved ones. You can be an example for them how to surf this wave that's coming. And it's a tidal wave. It's big, right? But remember, surfers never get out in the water and then complain about the big wave coming. They're out in the water for a reason, on purpose. They want that wave. They want to ride it. So if they start complaining, want to paddle back in because it's too big, right? What's going to happen? They're going to get wiped out. No, you're here for a reason. It's no accident. You're here at this time in life, in the world. On some level, you came on purpose. So be on purpose now. Don't let the world distract you. Don't let worldly things distract you. Be on purpose. All the worldly things you need to make you comfortable and safe and to help you, manifest your purpose will be given to you. Trust me on this. It will be provided. When I started the climbing walls, first of all, you guys, I didn't know what I was doing as far as business goes. I knew how to climb. I had a vision. I was the first one ever to put a climbing wall in an amusement park, a pay per climb amusement park. I had the idea, but there was so much I didn't know, and I didn't know I didn't know it. I didn't know it till I came up against it. But because I was on purpose, I was in grace, and everything I needed was right there when I realized I needed it. And I'll close with this. An example. Before I opened my first climbing wall, it was 65 feet long and 36 feet tall and had these overhangs and all kinds of crazy things going on. It was on the boardwalk in Wildwood. It was the beginning of the summer. I just finished building it and I was building the routes and I wanted to test the routes. And these guys saw the climbing wall from the beach. That's how big it was. And I don't know if you know, Wildwood Beach in New Jersey is very long. And so they saw it, they came up and they wanted to climb. And they told me it was right before the summer season started. They were all lifeguards, mostly college students coming in to be lifeguards for the summer. And I said, sure, absolutely. You could try it out and you can help me test the routes. And they climbed all day. There had to be 9 of these guys. If I remember right, it was like 9 guys. And they came down at the end of the day. It was starting to get dark out. The lights were coming on. We built lights for the wall. And they were like, man, we want to just keep climbing. And they were all like, can we work for you? I said, well, you already have jobs. I think we'll work for you, when we're not scheduled to, be lifeguards. And they had different schedules of lifeguards. It worked perfectly for me. I hadn't even thought up until that moment about all the employees I had to hire. And I was opening up in 3 days. And so what I needed came to me before I even realized I needed it. I was so caught up in the building. And they turned out to be the perfect people. They were already safety conscious, detail oriented, right? They'd already gone through a significant process to get that job. And so I just hired them right there on the spot. I said, you're hired. And then for the rest of the time in all the beach locations, that's who I hired. I hired lifeguards. They were perfect. They already, were good at working with people. They loved what they were doing. They were excited about it. Easy to train, very thoughtful. They showed up, right? It was amazing. And that's how it works. When you're on purpose, everything you need is provided by the one, capital O, who created your purpose with a capital P. That one already has it all planned out. You just need to step into it. Okay. Go over the 3. Can you tell me what they are? Anybody want to drop it in the chat? Somebody want to drop it in the chat? What are the three prongs, the three principles that help create this safety net around you during tumultuous times? Anybody? So, number one, what is number one? Anybody? Come on, drop it in the chat. Okay, connect. Some form of connection. I call that communion. It's probably not the best word because it has connotations that I don't mean. To commune means to find oneness or union with another or more than one other. And so some sort of collaboration or connection. The big problem is always separation. Right. Right. Nathan said, the loneliness coach said communication. Exactly. Through communication, you connect. So number one is connection. Number two, come on, Nathan. You have to ask, right? To ask what? What are you asking now? What are you asking? What are you trying to do? You're trying to forgive. In the type of forgiveness I'm talking about, not the worldly forgiveness. By the way, worldly forgiveness is not what I'm talking about. Worldly forgiveness is like a pardon. You're pardoning somebody for doing something wrong. That makes them the wrongdoer and you the right doer. That creates separation. Makes you greater, them lesser. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about knowing that they actually are equal to you no matter what they've done or not done. And inside them is the truth as it is in you. The light, the truth of your source, of your creator is in them as well. When you look for that, you find your connection. And that is then what comes out. And all that other stuff, like this darkness, fades in the light of that, right? So see the truth in them, which is the practice of forgiveness. So connect, forgive, and find your purpose. Be about your purpose, commit to your purpose, like wholeheartedly, and watch the miracles that show up in your life. Even through this huge change, this huge shift that is coming to the world, and not to just us here in the United States, I'm in the United States, but to people all over the world. It's coming, it's here, and it's about to rapidly expand. But the idea is that we're meant to expand. We are meant to expand. You first have to break down the old to break through to the new, right? Just like the caterpillar, the cells in the caterpillar break down. Once it gets into the cocoon, becomes all this liquid sustenance. And then there's a handful of starter cells in the caterpillar that are butterfly cells. They have the genetic information to make a butterfly. And then those cells feed on that broken down sustenance, the old that's broken down, in order to become the new. And then it gets wings and it becomes a very different animal. It's no longer crawling slowly along the ground where it's at the mercy of all kinds of birds and other things. It's now flying itself, right? It becoming its own bird. It's flying. It's a much more expanded animal. And that's what's trying to happen within us. Okay. I love you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. And if I don't see anything, I'm going to end it here. So remember the top three. Stay in peace, stay in joy. If you're not in peace and joy, practice being about your purpose. And for you guys out there that I've worked with, especially the men, women too, but especially you men, if you're struggling, there's a purpose issue. Find your purpose, be about it, reach out to me. I can help you do that. Okay, so just to let you know, there are several ways you can work with me if anybody wants to do that. I coach people directly one-on-one. You can reach out to me through this channel, or you can go to my website, markvandergag.com. Vandergag, gag is spelled with 2 A's, markvandergag.com. And there are ways to connect with me through there. You can reach out to me at markvandergag.com. You can email me and then we can have a little conversation. That's one way, one-on-one. There are things that I do, a thing that I do called the Power Cluster Program. That's a group mastermind. It's a big program. It's a 6-month program. I'll put you in there with other guys who are really strongly intentional about finding their purpose, being about their purpose, understanding their vehicle for delivery and, launching that vehicle within 6 months. And so reach out to me for that. You can come into my Course in Miracles program, the Miracle Makers Community, which is like $28 a month. You can come into that group and have access to all sorts of other things. We'll tell you more about it if you want to reach out to me. So Miracle Makers Community gives you access to the Friday morning 90-minute Course in Miracles meeting. Yeah, love you all. Peace.